Hi, Jeff Burke here from Broadband Forum, and I'm honored to have one of our board members here, Mauro Tilocca. He has been someone that has been exceptionally active in our cloud CO projects and been really someone who's been, from the very beginning, part of the leadership around our Open Broadband Access Abstration projects. And so, Mauro, could you kind of walk through what broadband access abstraction is, maybe get a little bit of a background of what Open Broadband is and where it's going?
Sure. Well, first of all, this is just one of the projects under the Open Broadband initiative that the Broadband Forum is bringing up. It's a new way of working related to open source agility. And when it comes to the OB-BAA, so the Open Broadband Access Abstraction, we're trying to make a breakthrough with respect to the way access networks are managed and controlled. And the idea is to introduce a layer that is able to adapt to the underlying network resources, but also to show to higher level management elements an abstracted view of these resources. And so we are kind of solving two problems. The first problem is being the dependency with technologies in the access and FTTX scenarios, and also the variety of vendors, which has been a little bit of a problem in terms of unification of interfaces. So adaptation is a key element, and this adaptation is going to be done towards standardized interfaces that the Broadband Forum is contributing to specify via, for example, young data models that are specific to those technologies. And then the part of the adaptation, so being able to really expose the access network as if it was one stage of a big switch, for example. So the ability to create flows and services end-to-end is going to be much more improved by this kind of access network softwarization and adaptation.
Some pretty exciting stuff. I know that there are some really big proof points that you were able to demonstrate to the world about this at the Broadband World Forum this last fall in Berlin.
Yeah.
Maybe you can talk a little bit about, I know there's a lot of traffic around that demonstration, a lot of great interest. What happened there, and where does that project go from here?
Yeah, I'm very proud of what we were able to reach in October, which is like roughly 9 months after the project started. And well, we, the service providers and the story team, but I have to really give kudos to the development team that worked towards that goal, October goal, the Broadband World Forum, to develop release 1.1, which was successfully demonstrated at the BBF Interop Pavilion with a multi-vendor, so 2 vendors, and multi-technology, showing OLTs and DPUs under the same setup, using one single standard interface that was able to drive different implementation. That is, I think, a very key breakthrough and demonstration. Of course, it's just a starting point. We're building up, and we work on new stories, on new features to be added to release 2.0 already planned, and we're looking at 3.0 as well. And that's very exciting. But having that demonstrated and seeing the interest that people showed there at the Interop Pavilion was kind of rewarding.
You know, it was funny. I was there at that event and watching folks watching that demo, and all of a sudden you'd see their mouths drop when there's a click of a button. You saw this auto provisioning across services, across network. It was quite impressive. Maybe you could tell us what the implications you can see of this are for the industry overall. What does this project mean, and what does this demonstration? What is it the beginning of?
Yeah, if I was to look at the impact into, well, the day-to-day life of my company, like a network operator and a service provider at the same time, this double concept of the adaptation and abstraction, as I said, is going to ease our life when it comes to planning and then engineering and then deploying new access technologies or new vendors' equipment by means of just using this softwarized exposure of the resources. But at the same time, it's going to plug very nicely into the ongoing transformation of our network management, control, and orchestration chains in a way that will allow to really streamline the service provision in the access segment that is going to be combined, of course, with a similar kind of automation chain across all the segments, and certainly improving, again, the ability to produce and deploy new services, but also in a much less error-prone way, which clearly converts in market advantage in terms of time and cost of the production, let me say, of these new services.
Unquestionably, very exciting stuff. Let's talk a little bit about what some of the plans are for 2019. What do you see happening in terms of the evolution of BAA and in Open Broadband overall as we look forward into next year?
Yeah, as I said, this is a work in progress because there's much to do because as much as the development team is really producing and delivering at the high pace, well, we at the Story team, we are very demanding, looking at adding new features. Where are we going with release 2.0 and 3.0? We're going towards clearly covering certain features that are part of the overall life cycle of the access network as as an asset. So we're going to cover more the service creation part, so the ability to create flows, to tailor them and adapt them to the underlying transmission interfaces and technologies. And then, of course, we need to close the loop because the life of the service doesn't just end when it is provisioned, but it needs to be assured. So monitoring capabilities, the ability to flexibly control flows is another big part that, well, the overall OB-BAA project team will look towards. We're going to have, in January, as far as I remember, like a lockdown session for release 3.0 to understand, not to understand, really actually to choose among the biggest list of features that we have in the pipeline. But certainly going towards a much complete and mature set of features that we want to deliver across 2019 as an open source package that not only the OB-BAA community but the whole industry can consume per the open source paradigm and hopefully further evolve to go towards some deployment and wider market adoption.
Given the dramatic implications of all this, I imagine that you're looking for other companies to get involved and maybe other skill sets to get involved with this project overall. Maybe you can speak to that a little bit of what you're actually looking for and what might be characteristics of someone that would be an asset to the project.
Yeah, and under, let me say, an ecosystem perspective, well, I can say that I'm seeing a good growth of the community. We have been adding recently partners in the vendors community. Also, operators are joining the project and are going to contribute to this development pipe and also bringing in more requirements so that as part of an open source community, we are able to corroborate the work that we're doing and make it more relevant for the industry at large at the time when we go for a distribution that is released to an even wider public. So yes, I can't complain. Of course, the more we are, the better and more relevant and more complete is the set of inputs that adds value to the OB-BAA code.
I wanted to congratulate you on the great results that you saw throughout 2018 and all the good work. It sounds like dramatic things coming out in 2019. So thank you for helping to drive all that, and thanks for the time today.
Thank you, Jeff.
All right, this is Jeff Burke signing off from Glasgow.